Thank you, Virginia, and thank you for the folks at WEKR and WYTM for getting us on the radio. This is Don Counts coming from Fayetteville Public Utilities. I have our CEO, General Manager, and each month we come on the Breakfast Club Newsmakers and kind of give you a state of what's going on here at the utilities. And we have Britt Dye here with us today. And Britt, summertime is here and it's hot.
It's been very hot, humid. Going to get worse tomorrow and Thursday.
Let's talk about that because we're talking about some high heat indexes, and when it's cold weather, we look at those situations of where it hits the grid pretty hard, I guess we would say, and it also does it in heat as well.
That's correct. Matter of fact, we got a warning yesterday late evening from TVA where the local power companies will be going into step 10 this morning, and what that means is the local power companies start cutting back on all their usage to some degree. And then, it might be toward the end of the week, starting tomorrow, possibility going into step 20. So that means that we're going to have to get some larger loads, just whatever we might have to do to cut back a little more if it gets that bad. But they're already predicting they're selling 30,000 megawatts today, which is a pretty good load. But, the grid is built to hold loads larger than that, and we hope to maintain everything as it is.
Let's talk about the grid in Lincoln County. Tell everybody how the power comes in here, and then we distribute it. That's kind of the way it works, right?
Right. We got 4 delivery points from TVA that they deliver at 161 kV, and then we break it from 161 to 46. And the hotter it is, when we do have a little storm that pops up, the lightning does create some major problems for us with our lightning arresters on transformers, or, sometimes we have wrecks too.
Yeah, that's true, and that causes problems as well. We're going to move on and talk a little bit about the cable discontinuation, I guess we'd say. That we're working on closing out the cable by the end of the year. So explain to everybody what brought that on.
Well, we're going with higher speeds on the internet, number one. Number two, the cable customers, we've been losing cable customers now about every other month from you start comparing the customer count from year to year. Programming cost keeps increasing, those kinds of things, and maintenance. But, a lot of folks now are going with this streaming videos, and now it's all available to, on certain channels, and they just keep rising in costs. And when you start losing cable customers, you can't recoup your operating costs. But then if you raise the rates to recover your cost, it's going to be just really, really high, and the demand for that right now of losing the customers, we feel like this is the best direction to go.
Well, we're going to continue the internet business.
Going to stay in internet and voice over IP, and we're working on speeds all the time. What's the best, of getting up to the gig deliveries and those kinds of things. And like all of our new builds, we're building actually fiber to the home. And in the very near future, it'd be time to replace the infrastructure that we first built back in 1999, which was mostly the city. And when you go changing that infrastructure out, and you'll be running fiber to the home as well. So there's a lot of changes coming up to improve what we offer as far as the services on the broadband side.
And speaking of broadband, we're continuing to grow that out into the county through some broadband grants, and still trying to get more grants to get other areas as well.
That is correct. And, if we can get those areas and get some more grant money, we got a call about it today, this afternoon, and it'll be discussed on the unserved, underserved areas that, folks are needing the broadband as far as working from home, because there's you have a lot of people these days that work directly from home, and, if school has to go back in that direction, you got to be able to offer some kind of service, you hope, in the rural community, and because you got this other virus that's broken out, now it's
sure.
kind of flip-flopping things over again. So we'll see how that ends up.
Yep, we have to keep an eye on that because a small utility like ours, you have to try to protect not only the customer but also our employees, because we've got to deliver the utilities to the customer.
We have to still provide service to the customers, and we got to be safe at the same time, because that's our number one goal, is always be safe regardless of what the situation is. But Nobody knows how it's going to turn out, but we're going to treat it the best we can and work as safe as we can to keep services going.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about the temperatures on the rise, and sometimes when it gets hot like this, we have higher bills for a lot of folks trying to keep it cool when it's cold outside. The air conditioning system works harder, or the unit or the heating system in the winter and in the summer, the air conditioner has to work very, very hard, which causes high bills. And so that's something we'll have to be contending with in the next month or so for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, because right now it's, like I said, with a heat index of being better than 100, everybody's cranking the air on to stay cool. And, we just have to work with customers the best that we can.
Yeah, I want to tell everybody that about budget billing. That'll help keep the bill somewhat level. That'll help a little bit if you would look into that. And also, if you we have all kinds of convenient payment options like Smart Hub that includes Secure Pay. And if you want to pay your bill, you can call 1-844-201-7200, and you need your electric account, which is on the top of your bill at your address. So that's important. Also, we work with South Central Human Resources. You might mention what we do there with them.
We work with them and, to try to give assistance to some degree of what their guidelines are meeting that. But you can always check with them if you need help and see what they can provide on that side of the service.
Britt, you mentioned school starting back next week. We're going to have our Student Utility Board coming back too. Tell everybody what the Student Utility Board is.
Student Utility Board is set up like our regular board members that we have, and we try to teach them different aspects of how the operations at FPU really goes on, and they get really interested. And it might be something in the future that one of them might be interested in doing our type work, but it's a lot of good jobs that people can apply for, at the time that they come open. The worst thing about it is, which is a good thing, is we just don't have a whole lot of turnover. Right now we got 4 apprentices going through training, and, the biggest turnover is when you start having retirements, and we got some more retirements coming up, and mostly the retirements are on the electric side of the business, and been here for quite a few years, but you lose a lot of knowledge and experience, and that's hard to replace.
Our Student Utility Board makes up of 7 young, I guess they're juniors or seniors? Seniors, okay, seniors. 3 from Lincoln County High School, 3 from the Fayetteville City School System, and then 1 from RCA. And it's a good program. They get to learn a lot. Plus, Britt, we've had the opportunity to have 3 of them, maybe 4. I think it's 4 of them now, counting Nate, would be interns for out of the Student Utility Board, which really helps out, and I think we learn a lot from each other.
Oh, absolutely. They work during the summer and they come in, and it's like I say, when you have the younger group that comes in, there's lots of things that they bring new ideas to the table.
That's true.
And so we all have to be prepared to think outside the box. And, everything that we've been doing lately, and really for the last several years, you got to think outside the box to be successful, to offer better service, and see what all is available, and do your diligence of offering better services.
And the young people definitely think outside the box. I'm going to tell you who all there. We have Libby Quick, who works in this department in marketing, and then we have Riley Campbell, then we have Navarius Hampton. That's right. I say that right now. And then we also have Nate Reeves. And so it's really good, because it's good to have people, young people here, the opportunity to work through the summer. And it's a good program. And also the Student Utility Board, we've been doing that program since, I think, around 2010. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, and it's been, you take that many, that would be 70 students who've been through the program, and it's really, really good. But let's see. Well, we got the move over. It's very important. Got a lot of folks out working on the side of the road. We want everybody to really be patient and drive careful as they go by our utility crews.
That is correct. And, it's like you said a while ago, the schools start back up next week.
That's right.
You got the new Blanche School that's on Highway 110, in that area.
About that.
So, we got the school flashers process of being moved, if not completed already. Plus, all your school flashers will be back in service, and just be careful around those school zones. You got a lot of kids, especially with the new school in the Blanche area, that a lot of folks are not used to. But the same thing is move over. When we're working on the side of the highway, or any group is out there working on the sides of the highways or roads, please slow down and be careful about when you get around our workers.
Our workers also, and I know you deal with this on a regular basis, they work in working today in very hot conditions, and you want everybody to work safe, and that's something you talk to us about daily.
That is correct. I say, the goal is to go home same way you showed up for work, and we say that all the time, and that's where everybody needs to think is go home same way you showed up from work, and that means a lot. We have a lot of employees that work outside. The heat itself brings on different challenges of trying to get things done. If you got rubber gloves on, you're pouring sweat out of them because you're working the hot lines. The other guys that are down in the ditches and those type things, you don't have no air circulating. And, we'll be taking different ways of how we're going to be doing work during this extreme weather. They'll probably start having to come in early a little bit and cleaning up things, get ready for the next day. But we sure don't want nobody to be out there and have a heat stroke or something like that.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate what you do. I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on. You've got your board meeting this week, and there's always things you have to take care of from the top all the way across the utilities.
Well, it's a challenge, and it wouldn't be worth coming into work if you didn't have challenges. And I love new challenges and new changes, and you got to adapt and just make what you can, what's best for the community and the customers.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you talking to us today. Is anything else before we go?
Just be safe out there in this hot weather. It's really, really tough on young folks, but it's really tough on the older generation as well.
Good point.
And just be really, really careful.
Very good. All right. We've had our CEO, General Manager Britt Dye, here with us this morning on the Breakfast Club Newsmakers. We appreciate Virginia getting us on the air over at EKR, Tracy over at YTM, and we appreciate all the folks listening and watching here on Fayetteville Public Utilities Channel 6.